Hey YouTube family, it's Sarah, and it's Tuesday, so it's video time. This is my promised video of reflections on being 18 months post-op. I know that there were some questions that people had about how I eat and my exercise and that sort of thing at 18 months out, and all of that stuff is important, and I may make a separate video on that, but I wanted to talk about what has really been the important part of my journey recently, which is the mental aspect of the journey. And, to be really honest, I made a bunch of videos at 1 year out, and I made a video about exercise, and I made a video about how I eat, and a lot of that stuff hasn't changed except for exercise, which I really haven't been doing. That's just keeping it real. But I wanted to talk about the part of the journey that really is first and foremost in my mind right now, which is that mental aspect of the journey. Because I think as you get to the end of the weight loss phase, or you get into maintenance, you start having to deal with being no longer obese or overweight or whatever. I mean, I'm still overweight, but I'm almost not obese. Very shortly I will be technically no longer obese and just overweight, which is kind of fun. But this is probably going to be one of those videos, the kind that I don't usually want to make, because it's probably going to be pretty raw and exposed about, what this journey is really like. I don't think that I showed this in one of my videos. This is my new tattoo. I actually have two new tattoos. You guys may have seen on Facebook. I have a tattoo on my back of my oldest son's name, and I finally got my youngest son's name added as well. But I got this tattoo of a lotus, and I got that when I was in Boston. And Chris was nice enough to take Lauren and I to the tattoo shop that he gets his tattoos at, and one of the artists there, Jeff, was nice enough to sort of squeeze us in last minute, and Lauren and I both got small tattoos. I'll let Lauren, I don't know if she shared in a video or not, but I'll let her talk about that. But I got this lotus, and the lotus is a symbol in a number of cultures and religions, Egyptian, or ancient Egyptian, I guess, as well as, commonly people know it as a symbol in Buddhism and Hinduism, Asian religions, and Asian culture. But lotus is a symbol of rebirth often, and of struggle, because a lotus grows out of the mud. Lotus grows in dirty ponds and swamps, and the lotus grows under the water in the mud. And then it eventually breaks through the surface of the water and flowers into this beautiful, perfect flower. And so it can also be a symbol of purity and of perfection, but it is often a symbol of rebirth. And that's the meaning behind the lotus tattoo for me, is I guess a new start. The new start that the surgery and my weight loss has given me. I honestly feel like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, probably, I've had major breakthroughs in how I think of myself and my life post weight loss surgery. And that might have something to do with getting closer to goal. There's probably a lot of things. But, there's some major changes happening in my life, some major things coming up, some major things that I have to deal with, and I guess make happen. I've talked about wanting a career change, and you wanting to just sort of, explore different things. I know this is all sounding really vague. There's so much that I share with you guys, because I feel like it's important to understanding my journey, but there are certain things that I can't share everything, let's put it that way, and there are certain things that I choose not to share on YouTube, and so some of those things certainly are weighing on me. I feel like I have finally accepted where I am, physically, what I look like, what I have accomplished in 18 months. I finally feel like I've really come to terms with that. And with that comes a whole lot of scary realizations. And they're freeing, but they also bring with them fears. Because it was easy before to not do certain things because I told myself I couldn't. It was easy to explain away disappointments and rejections by blaming my weight for them. I can't really do that anymore. And that's hard. It's hard not to have that safety net of being able to blame your weight for things that go wrong or for things that you can't do. And so I've had to come to terms with the fact that those barriers don't really exist, and maybe they never existed. Maybe they were things I just put there, and convenient excuses for why I wasn't pursuing certain things in my life, or why I was settling. My very good friend Sarah Spoon in Oregon has made a number of videos where she's talked about this, and she made a video on Goal talking about complacency disease, and that was really what her issue was, and her obesity was just a symptom of her complacency disease. And she had to find the bravery to do the things that she wanted to do and to find her own happiness, to make her own happiness. And I find myself kind of in a similar position right now, in that I feel like I need to remove all those mental barriers that I've put in place to making change and finding my own happiness. Often we don't allow ourselves to consider certain things or to, do anything that we feel is selfish. And I don't think it's selfish to want to be happy. And I think, as a mother, it's difficult to imagine trying to make my children happy if I can't be happy. Kids know. They know what's going on. And I feel like it's a poor lesson to teach your kids that as a mother you need to give up everything for them, or you need to constantly put yourself last or not place importance on yourself. I think it's a much better lesson to teach your children and to model for your children that you are important, that it's not selfish to want happiness or to want to better yourself or to strive for better things in your life or to take risks or chances. That's the legacy that I want to leave for my children. And so I feel like I need to start living that life. The life that I was afraid to live before. And the life that I chose to keep at arm's length because I felt I couldn't have it, or I didn't deserve it, or all those things that we do when we're fat. A number of things have happened recently that have made me understand that although this might not be Fat Sarah anymore, this is still Fat Sarah. Absolutely. Fat Sarah still exists. And I still make decisions based on those things that really aren't true anymore. So it's beyond just understanding physically what you look like or how people respond to you, but it's really about opening your mind to a completely different way of thinking, one that isn't encumbered by your perception of yourself or what you feel other people think or the barriers that you want to put up. That is a really challenging part of this journey. That self-reinvention is really about learning to think in a completely new way, learning to understand that a lot of those barriers were just things that you put in place, and that you probably made excuses for things. You allowed your weight to literally weigh you down, and you allowed it to make it easy for you to make excuses and to not risk rejection, or to explain away those rejections or those failures because of how you looked. So, I don't know, I guess I feel like the last little while has just been a lot of self-realization. And I guess that's maybe why I haven't made as many videos, because I'm still working through it, for sure. The other thing is that, there have also been a few things that have happened that have reminded me, as we all need reminding from time to time, that nothing's guaranteed, and life can unfortunately be short. And happiness is important, and taking risks is important, and being scared sometimes, that's important too. That's what makes you alive. That's what makes you human. And I started to think about what I would do differently if I knew that my time was short. If I would make the same decisions, or if I would be living my life differently. And I realized, nothing's guaranteed. And so I need to start letting go a little bit of that control. Phil's talked about it in videos, feeling like your life is like going down a river, and sometimes you're paddling so hard to go to the right, but the river wants to take you to the left. You struggle and struggle to paddle to the right, and sometimes you may fight the river. Sometimes the river's going to take you where it wants. But I always feel like there's a reason behind those things, and not to get like hippy-dippy, but my personal spirituality, if you want to call it that, or view of life, is that things happen for a reason, and they happen when they happen for a reason. I'm a big believer in timing, and I think sometimes we feel like things are happening all at the wrong time, but when you look back, you realize they happen at exactly the right time. And I feel that for me, that's what weight loss surgery was. I, considered surgery 10 years ago, but that wouldn't have been the right time. I feel like this all happened for me at exactly the right time. And I've been reflecting on that. I mean, I am now less than a pound probably away from my lowest weight since I was 12. That's kind of a big deal. I should say since I was 13, since the beginning of high school. That was 212. My lowest weight that I ever remember, I was 12 and I was 206. So, I'm getting close to those milestones, and I guess that's why I'm feeling really reflective on the time. And I mean, a lot of people talk about wasted time. They wasted all this time being fat, and sometimes I feel that way too. And sometimes I feel guilt of the years that I wasted, especially with my children. But I also need to pat myself on the back for being brave enough to take control of my life. And that's kind of been my thing, I guess, the last couple of weeks is being brave. Finding the courage to put myself out there and to make the change happen and to improve my life beyond just losing weight and getting healthier, but to make the weight loss a catalyst for changing anything that I can that's going to improve things. So that's it. My time's up. Always remember, it's not just about what you lost. It's about what you gained. Love you guys.